I am the voice of Snowbird Nation, Mike Searcy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Mike Searcy. I'm the founder of Snowbird Nation, brokered by EXP. Today, we're going to actually spend a little bit of time, not too much, but a little bit of time introducing you to the wonderful opportunity that is EXP Realty, innovation at its finest. And then also, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about Snowbird Nation because we are so excited about what we're doing by reinventing the team concept around the world and globally and specifically in the United States that we just can't help but be excited. So with that, let me introduce to you, if I might, Steve Richardson, one of our leading individuals on Snowbird Nation, so he can actually tell us a little bit about what this is all about. Steve, please.
Well, thank you for the introductions, Mike. I'm excited to be here, and I'm even more excited to show the potential of what the EXP model and Snowbird Nation combined can do for agents and just, to expand this thing. So without further ado, let's jump into the EXP model. All right, so EXP model starts right now with the founders and CEO, Glenn Sanford. This guy, he's an absolute genius level IQ. Mike, you would even talk a little bit about Keller Williams, and I know he came from Keller Williams, but his big thing was, after doing $60 million of real estate in 1 year, he went back to Keller Williams, if I'm correct, and asked for, just anything, whatever they can give.
Yeah, he said essentially that, he's one of the top producers, if not the top producer with Keller Williams, end of story. And he went back to Gary Keller and he said, hey, for all this work that I'm doing, don't you think that I should have some equity stake in the company? Gary Keller went back and did some study and they did some talking and they came back and said, we're going to give you 1%. 1% of the company. And Glenn Sanford kind of looked at him and said, yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a better way. And that's what he did.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. So he said, hey, let's go back and let's start our own brokerage. Let's start our own company. And we're going to call it EXP, stands for expansion. And that's exactly what he created. He created a brokerage that includes everybody, awards everybody, based on what they're doing with the company, and just wants you to keep expanding the company. It's absolutely brilliant. So let's look at it. The first thing we want to look at here is innovation. Let's see exactly what Glenn Sanford came in here and wanted to do. He wanted to innovate. But let's look at some of the models and some of the things that we have seen over the years.
Sure.
Just change. Blockbuster is the greatest example I think anybody's ever had. Everybody loves Blockbuster. Everybody had a card in their day.
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
Everybody had to take that video cassette tape and take it back so that they could rewind it and I could charge the fee. What happened?
Well, I remember obviously having my own Blockbuster card, and we went every week, right? It was a ritual. Every Thursday we would go and pick up a movie after work and pick up a video or two, and then we'd come back and make sure it was brought back at the end of the weekend specifically. And then all of a sudden Netflix came into the picture, and the online issue became a big thing, right? Now originally Netflix, if you remember, was a mail order project, right? You can actually, for a monthly fee, get as many movies as you want as long as you kept returning them and recycling them back and forth.
That's right.
Completely online and streaming. And when they went streaming, that everybody had access to being able to get all these movies without having to go to the store. Who wanted to go get a video anymore and rent a video when I'm paying a one process fee, one monthly fee, and I've got access to it all? And so Netflix pretty much put them out of business. There are, as I understand it, there's only one Blockbuster that is even still operational, somewhere like in Alaska or something. It's a novelty store at this point.
It turned into the mom and pop. And even a greater example than Netflix, which is hard, right? But Amazon, in the 90s, this company was, we associated Amazon with books.
Yep.
What happened? Circuit City was thriving. Kmart thriving ever since I can remember them as a little kid. They're gone. And what did Amazon do? They took both models, the technology, just the thrift store, every single store that you can think of, and they said, let's put it online. And the long and short of it, Mike, is that both of these companies, Netflix and Amazon, they were disruptors in their industry.
Yep.
And when they first came out, you had many, many people saying, I don't know if this is going to work. And they ain't saying that today. And that's exactly where we're going to go with traditional real estate brokerages and EXP.
Sure.
Because EXP is now the disruptor. All right. So through EXP, what did Glenn Sanford create? Well, he created a cloud campus environment. It's the epitome of being able to work wherever you want to work from. As long as you have an internet connection, you can do it. No desk fees. You can work from anywhere. And the biggest piece of this is that he cut out all these expensive, these behemoth contracts that these brick and mortars have, such as Keller Williams, such as any other. And again, I'm not down on any of those businesses. They're great models. But those expenses are very expensive.
I'll tell you what, one of the great things about EXP is that I'm the guy who often likes to work from an office. And with EXP, if I don't have a brick and mortar office, which is great, right? I'm not paying office fees every month. I'm not paying rent every month. And I had been doing that at one point. I said, but one of the great things about EXP is you get a free membership should you so decide to initiate it and start it to the Regus corporate suites and office systems. Now, there are over 13,000 Regus or Regus. I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced, but this particular office, temporary office service is available in like over 13,000 locations around the planet. So if I need an office in Paris, or if I need an office in London, or for that matter, Chicago or Phoenix, or Orlando or New York, doesn't matter. I only need to find out where the closest Regus is, and then I can go there and use their open office scenario to use their internet and actually work on my computer. Or if I have to meet a client specifically and I want to actually meet over a table or a coffee or something like that, I can do that at any of these offices. So I can tell people all over the globe, meet me at my office, and all I have to do is look up where the closest Regus is, and I've got an address already. When was the last time the average client who wanted to buy or sell a house met the realtor at their brick and mortar office to have a discussion about becoming a client? The answer to your question is, I don't remember. And I was originally licensed in 1998, and that was very common practice back then. Today, it's you're meeting people online, or you're meeting people in their homes, or you're meeting people out, but you're not forcing them to come to your location anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, and just to tie into that, let's talk about training. Especially this last year with COVID, I mean, high schools, everything closed, universities, everything closed. And guess what? Cloud type of training and Zoom meetings, it was already pretty popular, but last year that it just went unprecedented. Well, guess what? EXP's been doing this. That's built into their model. When you talk about live training, EXP offers more than 60 hours a week of live training right now. You get in there and it ranges the gambit. I mean, whether, from beginner stuff to experienced KV course stuff to all kinds of different, methodologies, anything that we can sharpen the axe and get the tools out right to make us better at what we want to do. It's all right here, and it's all available right through our website here at EXP. Right. So let's look at the world. And this has always been, my favorite part of this is going into the world. So with EXP, you create an avatar right here. So this is me. I'm going through the world. I just hit the information desk, and now I want to go ahead and attend a meeting or a seminar in the main auditorium. And the genius of this is that, it's kind of interesting to look at right in the beginning. You will forget you're in an avatar world within 2 minutes of being in a meeting. And that's the absolute truth. Mike, it looks like we're transitioning over to the broker stateroom. What do you think about this?
These are great, because this is where we get access to the brokers during regular business hours, they all work from home, but you can actually talk to them right here, right now. And, this is where you go to actually meet them.
And this right here, we're walking right into the broker room. I've had many meetings with my brokers in this very virtual room.
Oh, yeah.
As we look around, there's our little Arizona flag. But, what's cool about this, you've got two different screens. You've got two different screens here, and you can flip-flop between them, and they can have two presentations going on, and they just absolutely make it accessible and easy, and everybody's right there. So right now I'm zooming right over to our tech support, because that's always a concern, right? And tech support. So have you had to go through any kind of tech support issues with being an EXP, Mike?
I have both tech support and as well as do a lot of the onboarding group, and that whole process for being able to get to their system, get to their lobby, grab a number system so you know what number in line you're waiting in order to see anybody and meet anybody, to actually have them look at your specific issues right there, right now. It's fantastic. It's better than waiting in line at Best Buy for Geek Squad, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Let's jump in. Mike, you want to talk about, oh man, I'm having trouble. There we go. Stock options. Let's start talking money.
Let's start talking about money. So EXP is a publicly traded company. They trade on the NASDAQ under the code of EXPI. And one of the great things about EXP is whenever you reach a significant milestone with EXP, in other words, doing your normal job as an agent and actually being the normal success points that you would get throughout the year, you will actually be awarded stock for doing that position, for fulfilling your duties, for doing your job, for doing what a regular agent ought to be doing anyway. You're handed stock. So you earn shares on your first transaction. You earn shares when you cap. If you don't know about capping, we'll talk about that a little later. You earn shares when an agent you sponsor closes their first transaction. So just like when I share my favorite restaurant with the people that I have met and tell them, hey, you know what? I had the best food here. I want you to go to that restaurant because this is the greatest place. Well, you can get excited about EXP too and go talk to other agents. And if you talk to those agents and they come on board with EXP, there's an opportunity for you to make money. We'll talk about that later. That when they do, but you get stock when somebody you introduce to the company closes their first transaction. Also, there is an Icon Agent Award up to $16,000 in stock upon the achievement of actually being iconic in EXP, meaning you've gone above and beyond the average agent. You've actually gone above and beyond the number of transactions of the average agent. You've reached that milestone and they recognize you by handing you stock. That's fabulous. Now, the other way of doing this is what we call the Agent Equity Program. You enroll basically to take 5% of your commissions that you would normally get paid, and they will average the 10% off the average price of the previous month. They're going to take 5% of your commissions and buy stock with it for you in your name, immediately sellable if you want. Well, but I'm not sure why you would do that, but you would get stock at a 10% discount. Just for doing my job the first year that I was with EXP, just for doing my job, I wound up with $25,000 in stock.
It's amazing. It's amazing. All right. So here's the part that everybody wants to understand and everybody wants to know, and rightly so, man. This is just a fantastic model on revenue sharing. And, there's 7 tiers to revenue sharing through EXP. Tier 1 for those agents. And if you look off on the right side of the screen here are 1 to 4 agents. You unlock tier 1. After you pass 4, you go to 5, you unlock tier 2, and so on and so forth, and it keeps going. The only real gap is between tier 6 and tier 7. But by that time, I'm pretty sure you're not too worried about that. You're rocking and rolling. But yeah, let's just say when I looked at this, Mike, when I first looked at this, I got to be honest, I didn't understand it. I get it. Up to 2,800, that makes sense. But I just didn't understand it. I want to see it real. So I want to break that down for everybody. and make it real. So let's talk about a basic annual example. And if you look at the screen right now where it says, revenue estimates at the top corner here, the number of properties sold per agent, I wanted to keep this as modest as possible and just say, hey, let's just do a normal scenario. Somebody that's not super aggressive, somebody that's not, just not doing it at all. But let's just see what these numbers would go to. So let's say that an agent sold 5 properties in 1 year. Every agent involved in this equation sells 5 properties in 1 year. The average price of the property sold would be $350,000, and the average commission would be about 3%. Mike, do you think that's a pretty moderate example?
It's pretty conservative, yeah. It's probably relatively average for a good chunk of the country, yes.
Okay. So let's take that and say, we just want to make some extra income. So we personally introduced 4 people into EXP, and they're doing this average, basic annual example. So 4 people, and just say you get a little bit of fall off, that those 4 people, they introduce 2 and maybe 1, nothing dramatic. I mean, it's and they decide to jump over with EXP. What would that equate to at the end of the year? $8,610 according to the model. That'd be $8,000 that you could put in your bank account for doing pretty average and introducing about 4 people into the company. What do you think, Mike?
If all I had to do was find 4 people, basically, and I could make an extra $8,000 potentially a year, even if it took me 4 years to find 1 person a year, that's an extra $8,000 that could actually go to my retirement, that I would be making, and then potentially it would go anywhere, right? Because just people get excited.
That's exactly what I mean. And this is a pretty fair example. But let's talk about it, Mike. Let's talk about somebody that gets in and they're excited. Let's talk about somebody that gets in and so let's talk about a retirement wealth plan. So this is another way just to look at it, just to reinforce, and so you can understand. Again, when I first saw that model, I didn't get it, but let's just break it down.
Okay.
So say you want to have a retirement wealth plan and you want to make, a retirement that's worthy, that's you're doing okay. If you had $4.5 million in the bank at 4% interest, you'd have roughly $180,000, to play with. If you divide that 180 divided by 12, that gives you what, a good $15,000 per month. Okay. That's a pretty decent retirement, I would say. That $15,000 per month is pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So with EXP, let's look at it a little further here. The revenue share plan. So let's just say, again, you take 10 agents. Okay. 10 agents. And those 10 agents, come out to $2,800 because they're capping. So say all 10 of those agents cap. So you're getting the max out of the revenue share bucket, which is $2,800, which is about $28,000 a year. It's not too shabby. Just that right there, an extra $28,000 a year on top of your real estate dealings. But let's take it to the next level. And again, you got 10 times 10 agents. If you do that, you're in tier 2, which is $3,200. And if you multiply that across the board, 10 agents times $3,200, now you're at $3,200 or $320,000 a year. Together, that's $348,000 a year. But again, is everybody going to cap?
No, the answer is not. I mean, life happens. People don't always do the same things. We get variable agents that some get excited and some get tired. Some burn out. Some just get to the point that they just can't do anymore. And so I think your number there is that you've got on the screen is probably about right, to expect about 50% to cap at any given year. Sure.
Yep. About 50%. So, and again, the 348 divided by 2 is 180,000, goes right back into our equation. That's about $15,000 a month. That's an amazing number. It's an amazing number.
10 agents are worth about $4,500,000 to your wealth plan.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Mike. Show us what it takes here to be a part of not only EXP but also Snowbird Nation.
Sure.
Which there's a tremendous amount of benefits for that as well.
Well, most of the time that when we get a commission as a real estate licensee, one doesn't actually work for oneself. One works for a broker. You're a sponsoring broker across whatever agency you work for. So that broker has to be paid, and they're paid somehow, and you get what you pay for. So be wary of any of these brokerages that ever say we're a no fee 100% company. They're also usually saying we don't do squat for our agents. And so
Right.
let's be very careful about that. But remember, of course, that almost all of your fees in any given year, if you have capping agents that you've recruited below you, $2,800 a year, one agent's going to cover all your fees straight up. Okay, so, but let's talk about those fees. So when you join EXP, it's going to cost you, if you look over here on the right side of your particular slide here, it's going to cost you $150 for the first month to start up. Your startup fee, $149. That includes your initiation fee, and it includes your first month of your tech fee and your EXP University. Okay, so after the first month, your fee, at least in the United States right now, is going to be $85 a month. That includes your tech fee, and we have some of the greatest technology known to man that's at the fingertips of all of our agents. That includes things like KV Core, which is the Cadillac, the Ferrari of CRMs to keep track of all your leads. That includes things like the world that we just talked about, and how do you actually get access to all the support staff and structure that you need. That includes all these things plus more. SkySlope for actually uploading documents and files so you can get paid. The actual process by which we get into the stock portfolio and things of this nature. Okay, I'm not going to go into the rest of that right now, but then it also includes $35 a month toward your EXP University. Remember, we talked about over 60 hours a week of training. If you name it and you want it, you can probably get that training. And training is only done by people who are highly experienced, and most of the time they're icon agents. We talked about that momentarily ago. And so icon agents, experienced agents, agents who really know the business and how to do and help you get what you need to get. So the university aspect of things is amazing, especially if you are at a loss for a certain area about real estate. We often talk about real estate, as a build your own company, as a build your own business, because whatever kind of business you really want to do, you can, and it's available to you. Okay, what are we flipping? Did I run out of time? You flip slide?
No. There was an accident. Sorry about that. I put it back.
Okay. So all right. So then for every deal that we have, there's a $25 broker fee that comes out of your commission and a $40 risk management fee. That risk management fee is often called errors and omissions insurance. Okay, so these are US fees in some cases, so we want to be very careful about that. And your errors and omissions insurance caps at $500. So you're not paying, you still get the insurance, you just don't have to pay for it after you get to $500. What are you paying otherwise? For every gross dollar that comes in from the work that you do, gross commission is an 80-20 split with EXP. If you're not on a team, it's 80-20 split. If you are on a team, your fee is also an 80-20 split. But here's the difference. If you're an individual agent, it caps every year. It caps at 16,000. So if you get to that point in 2 months, you got 8-9 months of 100% commission, minus the fees that you have per each transaction. And then otherwise, if you're on a team, then it caps at 8,000. So let's talk about that for just a moment. So being an individual agent with EXP is an amazing opportunity. Absolutely amazing opportunity, because remember, with so many deals, you can get all that $16,000 back in stock. So, and if you have one agent paying, that caps underneath you paying all of your fees, it's really, you are here at a net zero or positive cash flow just for being alive and breathing with EXP. And I run a team. The team that I run, as you're seeing already here right now, is called Snowbird Nation. It's a nationwide global team focused on snowbirds, but that doesn't have to. But that word is catchy and people really love, and they feel a kinship to the idea of Snowbird Nation. And it's an amazing thought process that goes behind it. It is copyrighted and trademarked. All right, so Snowbird Nation. We have a team where, and just for full transparency, it's a standard team that is actually within the EXP model. So EXP, that's why we say it's brokered by EXP. And within that model, we have our own capping here, right? So when gross dollars come in, it's a 75-25 split, 25% to Snowbird Nation. You also have a split 80-20 to EXP, but the cap is 8,000. When you cap with EXP, you also cap with Snowbird Nation. Details can be discussed later as far as the fine print goes, but basically what it's coming down to is after you cap in either case, you earn 100% commission for the remainder of the year until your anniversary of when you join EXP, then it resets.
Yes. Yeah. And Mike neglected to tell you the best part of that. You actually have a team that knows what they're doing, that can help you through a lot of this stuff, whether you're new or experienced. And it's a fantastic concept and just a great team to be a part of. So this is the team. Obviously we have the professor on the phone, Mike Searcy, PhD out of the University of Iowa. You can tell, I can, just being on the team even for this amount of time, he's definitely a professor. He teaches you what to do, and teaches you how to go about it, and he explains things in wonderful ways. And then his counterpart, Brooks Mashmeyer, this guy, very different souls, these two, but together it's yin and yang. They just work well together. They know how to do it. So Brooks is on the prospecting side, on the social media side, accountability, all the fun things, about getting into people and actually delivering. Brooks does a just fantastic job on that as well. So those are the two heads of the team. Something I'm very proud to be a part of. So why join Snowbird Nation specifically? Mike, let's start with you. 21st century approach to specialization.
We've reconceptualized the team concept. When most people talk about teams, they say you can be a buyer's agent or you can be a seller's agent, and they stop there. And they basically say, you're going to go out and prospect, and you're going to find your own listings if you're a listing agent. You're going to find your own buyers if you're a buyer's agent. Well, the team might help you find those individuals, but the fact is, you're actually having to do all the process from prospecting them to getting them to signing them and then walking them through every step of the way. Whew. That's exhausting. And there are spots on that whole pipeline of dealing with that get really tough for some people, because people are good at certain things, but they're not always so good or as motivated in some other things. And so what we've done is we've taken part of that burnout factor out of it because of this. And follow me on this. The average agent, if I'm focusing all my attention on getting some individual through the process, by the time I get to the closing table and I get paid on that transaction, ultimately I'm unemployed until I can find now the next. See, I'm not that interested in spending all my time of finding people to help. I want to spend my time helping people.
Yes.
So having said that, I have just described myself as the person who doesn't necessarily like prospecting specifically, and I might not, but I like prospecting specifically, but I like to work with them as a consummate problem solver to get through it. So having said that, we start looking at it and go, well, there are people like Brooks Mashmeyer, co-founder of Snowbird Nation, who loves prospecting and finding the people to help. So we've basically boiled down the idea of the team into 4 specific categories. And these commission-based categories are lead generation. What are you doing to actually go and find the actual prospects? ISA, inside sales agent. These are the people that once we actually have the lead is going to constantly be in touch with that individual so that they're able to get pre-qualified with the lender and ready to go shopping or set appointments with the listing agent so that they can get their house listed and help them set the marketing plan. Then we have either the showing agent who's going to show properties and take them on tours and look at properties and help close them on the idea of which one they really want. And the equivalent, the parallel to that is the listing agent who basically does the legwork to help the seller decide this is what we need to do with your property specifically. From there, it moves to a negotiation and contract agent who's going to help that seller or that buyer get the property under contract and completely hold your hand until closing. Now, some agents want to do all four of those functions, and that's great. But there are some agents who go, I don't like this part, or I don't like that part, or I don't like that part. And if that's the case, well, then we'll take it and help pair you up with people who love those aspects of the position, but maybe not the part you enjoy, or maybe not the part you've specialized in. And so we've actually taken the entire approach to the team concept and broken it down in ways that nobody else is doing, and making it a 21st century modern concept. So you're dealing with specialists specifically trained in the part of the process that you may happen to be in at that moment.
Absolutely. I think back to when anybody that's in this business and they're getting their license realizes that the license that you're getting, it's a lot of great information, it's a lot of law, it's a lot of legal stuff, but hardly any of it really applies directly to being an agent. And so when you talk about mentorship, coaching, and training, being part of this team, I can be a personal testament to this, is that, I'm learning every aspect of the business, and with really qualified mentors. You can just tell just from the results and from all the activity that's going on and everything that this is really happening. And that's what Snowbird Nation did specifically for me. Social media, lead generation, contacts, understanding all of the technologies and everything that's involved in it, and then how to nurture those relationships. That's what I'm getting from Snowbird Nation in a tremendous way.
Fabulous. And we always say that the pre-licensing class and the test is all designed to teach you the law. We're here to help you with the practice.
Yep. So let's talk about growth. When you talk about EXP in general, the company hasn't been around that long. Started in 2013, and it probably took a few years to get them up and going, but the growth in the last 4 years alone has been astronomical, and there's no question about it. Why this growth has happened is just for the tremendous opportunities you have to make money, to actually to revenue share and stock and do work with great systems, and the real estate aspect of it. It's just phenomenal. We're looking already to expand across all 50 states, because that's another opportunity you have with EXP's model, and Snowbird Nation ties right into that. What do you think, Mike?
I think the growth is just begun. It's just started. I think there are over the millions of agents that there are throughout the planet, let alone just, if we want to just focus in the United States, with the phenomenal growth that has yet to come. I think this is the best time to be part of EXP. When they say that the best time to plant a tree was 100 years ago, and the second best time to plant a tree is today, that the same concept applies here. The best time to have really gotten into EXP was in 2013, but right now, the best time to get into EXP is today.
Is right now, today, absolutely. And, when I look at the core values of EXP, the one that sticks out to me is fun. There's something about the company, there's something about the energy levels, and when you meet other agents from EXP and just the camaraderie and the excitement, that leads me to fun, and I'm having nothing but fun, especially with Snowbird Nation, between Mike and Brooks and all the teammates, Rose and Jenny and everybody that's just coming all together, and we're just having a good time and making some money.
If this is exciting to you and this comes, send a message either to the person who shared this video with you, number one. Number two, if that doesn't work for you because you happened upon this video otherwise, then send an email to me, Mike at snowbirdnation.us, or you can call us at 8555 SBN. That's 855-572-6666. 6726. SBN, Snowbird Nation, SBN.
Thank you, everybody.